Audio only, but you can hear us. So it's 6:03, so we'll call the meeting to order. It's Monday, December 23rd. Technical difficulties, so there won't be any video, but we'll have audio to go with this. So let's start off. We have minutes to approve from December 11th regular meeting, and last week, December 18th, which was a regular and a budget meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes from December 11th and December 18th.
I'll second
I'll
it.
second it.
All right. Any discussion on those? Any issues or mistakes? All right. All those in favor of approving the minutes from December 11th and December 18th, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? All right. We have three warrants. Recreation Fund warrant number 3, which is just some basketballs. It's about $296. Warrant 13 is the general fund, general payments, and 13P is for payroll.
I'll make a motion that we approve payment of warrants 13, 13P, and Recreation Fund number 3.
All right, any discussion?
I'll second.
Your second, sorry. Any further discussion on those? The general warrant for 13 is for just under $22,000. The payroll is $13,402. Nothing big on warrant 13, and the payroll one aligns with our standard payroll amount. All right, so all those in favor of approving warrants 13, 13P, and RF3, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And all those against? All right, ARPA funding. Got news hot off the press. So we're going to allocate the remaining funds.
Yeah, so I had gotten a message from Lee today that they had a problem with the 2017 Western Star. It basically dropped the transmission out of it. It's about $10,000 to fix it, and, along with the cooler. So I'm going to propose that we allocate the balance of the remaining funds of $3,269.68 to the repair of the truck.
Ooh. Let me ask you this. How much is there? Not left, but from stuff that we've allocated allegedly already. Wasn't there like 13 or
But
14?
that doesn't
No.
kick in until
No.
July.
No, we can't, we've already allocated.
That's already allocated? Okay, so
It's-
just the $4,000 or whatever.
Unless
is left.
somebody comes back to us and
Right.
says, we're not gonna spend
Okay. So we're going to allocate the remaining $3,900 or whatever it is.
$32.69.68.
All right. So I'll second the allocation of the $3,200.
What had we been tentatively thinking of using it for?
Last meeting we voted on community center,
Yes, and
police, additional
Right.
patrols, and
the storage container,
the storage
Right,
container.
storage
But we bypassed the radios for the fire department.
yes. And then the Historical Society was going to try to get us something
Right, and
and the Grange, but we didn't
Right.
hear anything
and
back.
thank you for giving us an opportunity.
Sure.
We made a call to a couple different contractors to try and get an estimate and could not get anything. So we appreciate, we'll figure things out in the future, but we appreciate you giving us the opportunity.
So we're going to allocate so there's a motion to allocate the remaining $3,200 to assist with the payment of the repairs to the truck.
So the stuff we voted on last meeting
We'd have to
is still
It's
current.
still current.
It's still current,
Yeah.
yes.
Was there any money remaining in the highway budget to cover some of that?
He does have a repair line. I'd have to look at the budget stuff to see, but hopefully there's something there.
Do you have year-to-dates?
Yeah, Chris sent them. I got him an email. I'll forward them to you. I haven't had time to look through them. I think that's what he sent me. 'Cause I asked
He was over on last year.
On last year, he was over.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Dan passed by that truck broken down somewhere.
Well, we don't need to know the number. It's in here somewhere. All right. Okay, so all those in favor of allocating the remaining ARPA budget of about $3,200 for assisting in the repair of the Western Star?
Yeah.
Say aye.
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 And all those against? All right, public comment. Anything? That's
Just-
not on the agenda?
Just thank you to Maria for the spreadsheets that are online too. It's
yeah.
very helpful.
Yeah,
Since
so-
you guys are here and I printed a bunch of these, you can each have one of these.
Oh, good.
and we'll talk about it next week. I made it as big as I could.
Okay.
Nice.
So the really quick as you're looking at that, if you look at the there's a box vertically that's highlighted in the border. See that, Paul, for FY26 working? It should have a black border around it.
Yes.
So if you read down from there, that's got right now the general fund expenses, the highway expenses, the cap fund,
Right.
structures, blasting, and crushing, and there's a total, and then there's the estimate of the revenue for the general fund and the highway fund, which leaves us below that how much taxes we would need for each one of those. So the total comes to $1,056,000. So that is then added back in below it with the capital plan, the structure fund, blasting, crushing to come to the 1.429 million. Don't worry about that grayed out number; it's not important. So right now, it's a $267,000 increase. It's actually a hair under 23%. It's 22.99. But what it does tell you on the right-hand side, what I did with the pictures, is that is the increase in taxes broken out by each one of those things that are in the yellow box that I highlighted. So it is the increase in dollars, but the percent that's next to that on the right is the percent of the overall increase that item is hitting. So as you can see, the highway expenses, which are orange in that circle on the upper right, are $100,000 of the increase. And you can see that the capital fund is a $135,000 increase. And then the general and highway fund are very small.
Do you have a sense how the general fund increase breaks out according to the library?
Yeah, so it's, I can tell you exactly because I have it. Pull it up. So the capital fund, of course, is half of that capital fund is the fire truck, which is $115,000.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Last week I asked you, and I can't remember the answer. This was on the Highway Structures Fund. If there was any particular fund or particular item that you're accumulating the funds for.
Yes, I'm gonna make you a copy of this.
Well, but that's,
This is in order of priority, so it's gonna.
yeah.
We're looking
So
at.
it's not like you're looking at something specific to be done within,
We are.
well, like, you got $80,000 in the fund now.
Yep.
At least as of June 30th, and you didn't allocate any last
That's
year.
right, we did.
So I'm assuming you still have $80,000.
Yep.
What is that going to be going towards? And if you put the other $100,000 in it, you got $180,000.
Right. So Leonard Road in 26 needs to be done for its $200,000.
Okay.
Hopefully there'll be some grant money that will offset that. But
Is
we're
that
not certain.
fiscal year 26 or the actual?
Calendar year?
Calendar
Well,
year.
he said 26. I don't know if it's fiscal year or calendar year, but that would be next year. Next year when we're sitting here.
25, 26. right.
And that's followed by Johnson's Curve, which is $500,000, but that's not until 2030. And there's two in 2030. In fact, Johnson Curve and Hague Road both are.
Any
slight.
of these, you say possibly some grant money, but you don't know.
Yeah, there's some in Lee, and this will be in the article, which is coming up, addressing exactly this, so that when you read it, hopefully in the views, it'll be broken out by this is the plan for the next X number of years, and this is why we need to build up the funds. But we also have, there's concerns with the bridges, which are on here also. And those are a ways off in the future. But we'll go through this list, at least prioritized.
The reason I'm asking is that can any of these things, are these critical or are these programmed program upgrades, like you have your equipment programmed, like every 10 years you're buying a truck.
Right.
Is that just because what we'd like to do, or what we feel is absolutely necessary that needs to be done?
I will ask Lee how he wants to define that. I would assume, and again, that's not necessarily the answer, that he's not liking to do anything. That these are things that need to be done.
Yeah, we talked about the Leonard Road one, which I know because it's in my neighborhood. And that has overtopped. I looked at it the last big storm we had, and the culvert, which isn't that big, was, 3/4 full. So, didn't have much leeway.
3/4 full, or you mean with water?
With water going through,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
And culverts shouldn't be that
Yeah.
full. Now, it's kind of this ironic situation that if we ignore it, maybe it'll flood and we'll get FEMA money to replace it. Grant money.
Yeah. Yeah, because you'd have to have a disaster area
Yes.
created.
And even if that were to happen, we still have to pay for the
Yeah.
repairs or the replacement
Yeah.
before reimbursement occurs.
But you can borrow if that, in
Which
anticipation of, yeah?
Yes, but last time, it was it $280,000 or $380,000, that one storm where we did have damage? And Charlotte looked into borrowing money in case we needed it.
Mhm.
We were only going to be able to borrow about 175. So it really wasn't going to help us.
But we'll have more information on that next week. Same back channel.
Yeah, I was just looking at that and I'm saying, I know you've reduced it from the request of 125 to 100.
Mhm.
But every $14,000 you reduce your impact on the taxes by 1%.
Mhm.
And you're looking at 23% after last year's big boost.
Yep.
Seems like,
Could cut that by 20 or something.
well, I'm just asking, you guys are the ones that have to make the decision. I'm pointing out an area that I thought might
Yep.
have a little slack in it. And you have to decide whether the slack is there or not.
Yep. Definitely. To answer your question, if you want to write this down, so the general fund increase is 62K. 20,500 of that is the library.
How much?
20,466 if you want to know exactly. And the fire department is 32,475. So between them, it's 52,941. So that's 90% of the general fund increases are those two. There's nothing really else in the general fund that has a significant dollar fund increase. And the fire protection one, that's based on what we gave them last year for both operating expenses and capital funds, right?
Right.
The operating request increase is 120%, but we got rid of the
Right.
26K that we gave them last year. So that number is the overall. Right. Get rid of this piece of paper. Road foreman's report. I have not heard from Lee. He's probably pulling a truck somewhere. And I haven't been to your house yet.
I know.
You know how cold it is?
Believe me, I
You know
know.
where you fall on my priority list, Paul?
What's that?
Number one. You're number one on my priority list. And I went and got a Christmas tree and didn't even come by your house. I did. Actually, I did drive by. I saw your steaks.
Yeah.
Let's go the other way.
Yeah.
And I saw the steaks, but I need to talk to you about that. Call Paul. After the new year. But surely he doesn't do anything between now and then. Well, it's too icy to do it, so.
You mean between now and next week, or are you talking about? I keep seeing it on the agenda, so I'm wondering,
We want you to know we're not forgetting.
well, I'd rather know when you're actually going to be talking about it, so I can be,
But see,
want to be sure I'm going to be
this way
here.
we can
Just like
continue.
here.
We can continue to make you come. So we're just,
Well, it's always nice to see you.
well, Once cribbage starts, you don't need to see me anymore. So you'll be seeing me anyway.
Yeah.
Correspondence. There's nothing new. The STARS report. Paul, was there anything new in the STARS report?
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Was there anything? Didn't we get a STARS report in the mail?
No, there's nothing new on that.
Okay.
Other than the revised contract that I sent everyone.
Yep.
And with your approval, I will sign it and send it off.
Is that the number we have in?
I couldn't open it.
Oh, you can open it? Okay.
It's the number we had in.
It's what we agreed to?
For the additional from the ARPA funding?
Yes.
So was that?
All he's going to do is include it into the present contract we have now, so it'll be increasing our monthly payment.
All right, because it's not in the upcoming budget. It's only for the first 6 months of the year. So it's the tail end of the current fiscal year.
Okay.
So the adjustment was just to add the additional hours between January and June.
Right.
Was it specific in the wording that it was for ARPA, because of ARPA funding? I mean, we have to be able to prove to the Treasury that it was, in other words, I envisioned it actually being a separate contract for just extra hours, not just tacked on to the current.
Yeah, and I can't open it either because it's a review document for you,
Yeah,
Mark.
couldn't
Or
open it.
Paul. So Paul, can you open the document as you're going to do and see if you can download it so we can all read it?
Because it's a DocuSign document.
Right.
Right. There must be some way to.
Nobody was able to open it?
No, it asks us to sign in.
Yeah, to request access.
The other option.
Let me see if I can bring it up and then
Tell us what it says.
share it on the screen.
Okay. Well, while you do that, we'll talk about some other stuff, which isn't much on there. DRB hearings coming up. The emails community center we can take the emails community center library off. There haven't been any new ones that
Yep.
are moving forward. All right. There's another question on there. Discussion and action views article. That's me. I did send in. You guys saw the town report
Yeah.
write up.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah. So the views article is going to be a little bit longer. Hopefully I can get to it this week. Because I want to make sure that it makes sense because basically it's going to discuss the budget. And it's going to discuss the structures fund. And it's going to discuss it. We'll double check with the library. They're supposed to be writing one about the library trustees.
Okay. Yep.
Plus I want to ask them to look at their write-up for the town report. Because I want to include in the town report an explanation of what the grant is doing, what it's doing the budget this year, and what it'll do the budget the following year. So that both the views article and the town report cover that. BCTV contract, I think it just came in at $1,600. Is that right? Because
No, we had got an email from somebody.
Oh yeah, Guru Dotum's son
Son
asking about
wrote something, he was, and I don't know what he was asking.
it. Was he wanting to bid on it? He's doesn't live locally, so
Right,
no, it
so
doesn't live here. So is it?
I'm not sure what
I think he
the
was just,
purpose of it
I think he was
was.
just curious because he's
Yeah.
getting into that business. Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Can you allow me to share my screen?
Yeah.
I won't be able to record it.
Yeah, that's okay. It won't be recorded, but we can look at it. Hang on. I give you permission, don't I? I don't know that I can do it because I'm not logged in as the because of what we call technical difficulties. What
Can he print it out and then our next meeting of the first,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be next week because it's a budget meeting.
Yeah.
But the first meeting in January.
Yeah, when does he want it signed?
Okay, it says host disabled participant
Yeah.
screen sharing.
Right, that's why we're not, because I locked out the password. So, when you're looking at it, what are the terms? Is the terms just additional hours from January to June, or is it a whole new contract that he's rewritten?
Hold on a second.
All right. I'm putting you through this because you can't have any
It
cookies.
goes, this agreement made the 20th of December, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, God, right.
Let's see. Compensation for the period of July 1, 24 to December 34. The town agrees to prepay for services payments. So that's
That's correct.
six, monthly payments of $1,547 due on or before each month. And then for the period of January 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2025, the town agrees to prepay for services payments will be made in 6 equal payments of $1,866.67.
Okay, so 360.
Before
So
you-
367. Yeah, 367 times 6. So 18,
Right.
1,800. So $2,000. Is that about what we set aside?
Yes.
I think it was 1920.
1920. I think that's the numbers. The difference is between 1,500 and 1,868
So they wrapped it into the main
the-
contract.
to the final 6 months.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's gonna actually be okay for the ARPA reporting purposes.
Right.
They're probably gonna wanna see a separate contract
Right.
for because we've already signed the contract
You're right.
for the normal budget hours.
And I think it's preferable to have it separate anyway,
Mhm.
because it's not gonna continue at that level.
Exactly.
So Paul, can you? I'm sure you're listening to that. So can you go back to the sheriff and ask him to keep our original contract as is? We've already signed it, and write a contract up for 6 months for just the additional funds.
Why don't I just have them amend the contract and put number 8, these funds are from ARPA.
No.
Now
I think it's cleaner to
Yeah.
do it as a separate.
Yeah, let's
contract.
try to do a separate one from 1 January to 30 June for the additional money each month. So the $367 a month coming directly from ARPA funds, just for record keeping.
Okay, all right. I'll have them do a separate contract then and keep the old one the way it is.
Yeah,
And have them draw up a separate one.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Thanks. Man, you got a nice sliding barn door in there wherever you're staying. All right. I was gonna see Paul's road digs. I will send a contract to Ronan.
367 times 6 is like $2,200.
Yeah, 1,800 and no, because 6 times 3 is 1,800.
We approved $1,920.
Yeah, so the number should be $1,920 ish when he writes it up. Oh, you got a phone? Nice.
Can you see it?
I trust you're putting in the right numbers.
I did. It tells me I did.
I have not heard back from Debbie Miller. Like I said, she doesn't live here full time for the Conservation Commission. So
Okay.
when she's back up in the area, we'll have her stop by and say hello.
Okay.
Salmon Brook Erosion, they did a final design inspection on the 19th.
Okay.
The state came up
December 19th.
December 19th, yeah. We did not need to be there. I think they were just finalizing designs. So hopefully we'll have the design done and we can put it out to bid. I'm sure the work won't be done until spring, but at least we can go to bid.
Okay.
Another question. I should have asked it earlier, but what is the DRB hearing in January?
It's interesting. It's I think it's that building on Route 5 that Hermit Thrush has had.
Okay.
There's another brewery from up north that's looking to
Okay.
do something there.
Yep.
I'm actually wanting to go there just because I'm curious what their plan is, whether they're buying it. It sounded like a tiny startup brewery, working out of someone's garage in Tunbridge.
So the first one is
Yes.
Beer is good.
a variance for a school outdoor rec program on Kelly Road. And the second one is Upper Pass Beer Company, conditional use brewery and tap room on number 7 US Route 5. So those are the two.
Thinking of that, does it make sense, or is it easier for somebody who's making up the agenda, when there's a DRB hearing, you just say what it is or who it is, or does that, do you make up the agenda? Okay. I was thinking the same thing on sometimes when there's an Act 250 hearing, be nice to know.
So in the past,
I know,
I didn't start, the Act 250 was just a number was put in.
right,
So then it wasn't out there what it
yeah.
was. It was
You didn't
just
know,
a
you didn't know
number.
whether it was Scott Farm or Leader
boathouse.
Beverages or,
Exactly,
So,
yeah.
it would be nice to know, you know,
Yeah.
something like that.
We can, if you want to put the number in, when you send it to me,
Mhm.
I will put in the link to the Act 250 site.
Yeah, you can go there and
And
find
so
it.
then when it's posted, they can just go look at it.
Go look at
and you
it.
don't have to add any information to it.
Right,
So yeah, we'll get a, you are here, go here if you want to find out what it is.
Yeah.
Same thing with the DRB.
thank you.
Sure.
And I'd like to ask back in emails, between the community center and the library, supportive of what's going on, or what were the emails about?
Well, those have been on there for a while, so those have
Oh,
been probably
okay.
for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, okay,
That's
so
kind of been a
that's
running.
nothing new this last week?
I have not heard anything this
Okay,
week.
thank you.
Nor have I really seen anything on Facebook about it. So,
Okay, right, thank you.
so that seems to. Was there any discussions at all this week on? Are they
Not that
all?
I've seen.
They're all moving on their own and taking
far as I
business?
know, yeah.
All right, good. That was the goal. You've done well. You've gotten the kids to quit bickering without pulling the car over.
But it's interesting when you commented that you have not gotten a response in terms of scheduling the cribbage at the community center. It's like, who is handling that and how are they getting back to people? I don't need an answer now,
Yeah.
but makes
I
you
don't have an
wonder.
answer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good question, because I don't know if it's been publicly announced, but Paul Chapman resigned from the community center
Oh.
board a week and a half ago, I think. And I don't know if he was dealing with scheduling, but that could affect things.
Yeah, I mean, I used to call Randy directly, and then they got an online service, and you fill it
Right.
out,
Right.
but then you never get a response. So I'll give Randy a call at some point next week just to confirm
Yeah,
that we have it, but that's something that they need to work on a
right,
little bit.
right. Thank you.
And the intent with the agreement is that the community center would still handle scheduling for the new room,
Right.
for the community functions there.
Right. All right, it's no unfinished business. So we have a budget work session a week from tonight at 6. That will hopefully be as close to our last one as we can get.
Yeah. So are we allowed to talk any budget stuff tonight? We didn't warn it in the
I think we can.
agenda.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to miss next
Yeah.
week's meeting.
Lay it on us.
Yeah, so I did go through some items and wanted to just flag them to see that they get talked about next week and or communicated with ask Lee about.
Right.
So under winter maintenance wages, I know we had a big discussion last year about that, and
Right.
Lewis was pretty worried about reducing winter wages based on climate change, not as many storms. It's kind of hard to debate that this week with a lot of bad weather. But I think we should look at that number, and it would be great if we are able to get the year-to-date numbers.
For overtime, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I haven't seen those we haven't got.
Because we were running 120 hours.
You're budgeting 120 hours for
That is
more men. So that's,
480.
yeah.
Okay, so that was one item.
I'll get an hours report.
It'd be nice to know what your
What was last
what you
winter?
used last year and what your year-to-date is.
Yeah.
But probably most of your overtime hours are probably in the wintertime.
Yeah, well now we have all of last winter to look at
Right.
as a measure, okay?
So then both lines 7 and 18, chloride and sand. We talked last week about a big pile of sand there, and that maybe I don't know if we reduced it a little bit. No, it doesn't look like it. I drive by there frequently, and there's, vegetation growing out of it. I think we ought to spend that pile down, get it pretty low and not
If
heavy.
you go into the garage area, you see that they're taking it out of the front of that. So the back of that slope is not a good indication of the mound.
I understand, but I still think there's a lot there that may be, we may not need to add as much. I'd rather see that whole pile moved back and, used up.
So chlorided sand, yep.
Well, the sand in,
Are you talking sand and salt? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
well, those are two different line items.
Yeah,
Right.
line 7 and line 18.
Yeah, because in 24, we budgeted 14,000, spent 9,200.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we don't have the year-to-date number.
Right.
So wait, what's the difference between chloride and salt sand?
It
Salt
is
sand.
salt. The chloride it's calcium chloride, instead of sodium.
But we have a chloride line with 14K in it,
Yep.
and we have a salt line with 22K.
Yeah.
The salt is used in the wintertime on the pavement.
Okay.
The chloride is probably used on the dirt roads in the summer to keep the dust down.
See? There you go. Now I know something. So we're talking about the salt and the sand.
Yeah, I guess it's
Well,
all three.
All three. Okay. Maybe we'll get a message.
Okay, and then the diesel, we talked about that. But I think we ought to look at that number and bring that down.
Paul, did you have any more input on the diesel? I know it was 59 and we talked about it being lower.
Okay, yeah, the numbers I've got, hold on for a second here, let me just grab my sheet. Okay, currently, the other company is now $2.78. We're currently paying $3.30. They will only deliver with a minimum of 150 gallons. They don't do top-offs. They want a minimum of 150 gallons each trip. The difference in the prices is $676, which I don't find that significant, but because the prices could still go up more, because I can't lock them into a fixed rate.
So $676 for a 150 gallon delivery is what you're saying.
yeah. You use 14,000 gallons, and you've got, what have you got for storage? You got a 5,000 gallon. Isn't that a 5,000 gallon, Paul?
No, it's 2,000 gallons.
Oh, okay. Well, so they're not gonna they're not gonna have to make a 150 gallon delivery.
So,
It would always
yeah,
be
look on that.
significantly more.
So the idea being that they fill that tank when it gets half or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So you're saying, so 157, so you could say $4,200 on 1,000 gallons. Paul, is that right on your calculator?
So, well, you would save on the current amount that we use, which is about 1,350, let's just say, because we go between 1,300 and 1,400 a year. That's our usage.
That's thousands.
13,000 to 14,000, right?
Yeah,
Right. That's our usage per year.
Yep.
So if you take $3.30, you subtract out the $2.78 with the other company, it gives you a difference of 52 cents. 52 times 1,300 gives you a difference of $676.
no, how about 13,000 times 52 cents?
Right.
7,000.
It's somewhere between $6,000 and $7,000.
Yeah,
So,
And we just had a delivery of diesel fuel in the Warrants, and they delivered 174 gallons, almost 175.
right.
They
And that
don't-
was at
so that's-
330.
Yeah,
what do they do, deliver every week or something?
I don't know.
So, but as long as you're
When
not,
they're in town, they supposedly top off every time.
so as long
So
as,
the tank does not get low,
right.
which is kind of nice because a lot of times if the tank is not full, it starts getting condensation within the tank.
Right. But as long
And
as
then
it's
you've got
over,
your water separators, of course,
But
on
for-
your equipment.
for
But
the lower price
still, it's
diesel
not a
though,
good thing because it breeds bacteria.
so for the lower price diesel though, as long as it's 150 gallons, they'll come.
Yeah,
Right.
So just don't call them when it's not 150 gallons low.
Well, we probably don't call them, it's probably on an automatic delivery.
Right.
But that date could be changed, or the frequency could be
The fre-
changed.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it, I don't know if they come weekly or,
Because the 2K
That
tank.
was December.
They come 3 times a week.
How
Oh,
often?
no, no.
Three
They'll
times.
be in town 3 times a week, they said.
yeah, but not here.
But not necessarily here.
They could come to, if we need it.
I mean,
Yeah,
this
but-
statement is for December and it was December 10th. I don't see anything on there. Yeah, it was dated, well, there's December 5th payment, December 5th. So this, and December 10th was the delivery.
So the only hitches we have here are the 150 gallons, right?
Yeah, minimum.
Minimum delivery.
Yeah.
And that's it.
If they come every 2 weeks, that sounds like it would work.
Yeah.
Right. They come every 2 weeks. And that would cut about somewhere between 6,000 and 7,000 off the budget
That's
at the current price.
Yeah, and that was on 13,000 gallons.
Right.
And if it's on 14, it's 7,000. a little
Right,
over
so- Mr. Normando, geopolitical situation.
7,000. Okay.
What if the price goes up to 305?
Well.
We're still saving money.
You're still saving money.
It'll show up at either
Yeah.
company.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
You-
the reason I'm leading you in this question is, if we take 6,000 or 6,500 off the budgeted number down to that low, that may be too low. Because if the price goes up, we're going to run out of money.
well,
So
So take $5,000.
what if you
off.
split the difference and say take 3,500 or 5,000?
Well, even if you plug it in at $3 a gallon,
Mhm.
at 14,000 gallons, that's $42,000.
4,200.
42,000.
40,000. Yeah.
So you got $42,000 as opposed to 59,000. You're saving $17,000 on your budget,
Right.
and you still got quite a cushion there at $3 a gallon.
Right. All right. I gotcha. So somewhere between 42K and 59, and it may be 42. That may be the number.
Well, I thought I gave you a cushion, but if you want a
No,
bigger
no.
cushion, you just take
Right.
you just take more.
All right. So between Paul and Lee, you guys can set up with this new company. I know Lee's not here. And set up delivery systems where it's every 2 weeks to make sure it's over his 150 gallons. And even if they need them for a third time that week because they use a lot of fuel, they still can do it as long as it's 150. So if they just gas up all week, they still can come in. All right.
All right, what we're probably gonna have to do is get a letter that we are tax exempt from the federal tax
Right.
for the company.
Yeah, and Lee should probably have all that paperwork in place. So I'm going to
Okay.
set Lee on this, and this is what's the company?
No, he's not.
No.
What company?
What's the
is it?
name of the company you work with? New Hampshire?
Right now, he's working with boroughs.
Yeah, who are you working with?
I'm working with what is it? It's the discount oil
Yeah,
of New
we-
Hampshire.
Okay. Yeah, I see the trucks around. All right, so I'll talk to Lee this week.
Yeah, run it by him because, I don't know, the seasonality might change pretty dramatically. Winter usage of diesel might go way up. In terms of
Well,
the 2 week.
there's a difference in price of the winter diesel and the summer diesel,
Right.
because it doesn't have the additive in it. Summer diesel's cheaper.
Right. And they may not have to deliver as often.
So, what did Paul say was 258 now? Is that what he said?
278.
278. Okay.
So we've got 10%
Mm.
slop in there at $3. All right.
If we switch now, we might get a little surplus for the rest of the fiscal year.
Right. All right. I'm okay with 42,000 in there.
Well, I think it's I'm just flagging some items that
Yeah.
we can talk about next
Yeah, we'll
week.
put 42,000 in. I'll talk to Lee. It may go up. It may go down. All right.
So then,
Come May, you may wanna put it out to bid.
If anyone wants to do winter for a year.
Yeah, they'll give you a 12-month, well, it'll rhyme with your fiscal year.
Right. What else you got, Alex?
yes, on the general fund, I just flagged the lines 14 and 16, health insurance and payment in lieu of health insurance.
Yep.
Seems like we're not realizing the savings that we could with a number of people going into Medicare.
Right. So the health insurance number is 38.9, right?
Yep.
So it's dropping 15,000 because we're having 3 people drop off. And so
At different times of year, so they're not all dropping off at the beginning of the year, as I recall.
that's right. It'll be at their birthday. Why is that on there? Did you run it by the birthdays, or did Lori do it?
Lori did all of that,
All right.
and I believe it was.
I think she set it up on the
Yes.
month of their birthdays
Yep.
when they turned 65, but we'll double check. So as far as the savings, so we're net minus 15 on health insurance, and then we put in 9,000.
Right.
So
And I'm not sure that 9,000 is prorated.
it does seem like a round number. I'll check with her on that. She's in tomorrow morning. Right. Okay. Let me make these green so I can answer these questions.
I was on the next page, line 40, listers. This seems like that was going up faster than
What line number?
40
Wages?
listers wages.
I don't know. It went up exactly 2.4%.
Yeah.
$531 is what I got for the increase.
Right. So, but it's double what it was in 2020, fiscal year 2020. I just was curious, whether there are more hours that are going into it in addition to the increase in wages that we put in last year.
I don't know. I don't have 2020 on here on the chart. I mean,
21's when we did the reappraisal, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a
20,
little higher.
2020,
12,103, the actual.
Yeah, and then you had $6,500 in Lister reappraisal wages. So
Okay, that's separate, yep.
I got rid of all the years. That's why.
Okay, then the other thing, let's see, on this page, the delinquent tax collector, just wondered where we stand on that. Didn't Chris step down from that role?
Charlotte did.
Charlotte.
Well, does that fall under the treasurer's,
Doesn't have to.
No, she was only doing it.
well, Charlotte was doing it as treasurer, right?
before.
Initially.
So there's a year and here or so, well, quite a few years that we didn't put any wages in because it fell under
Right,
Charlotte.
right. So who's the delinquent tax collector now?
We don't have.
As of January 10th, she's resigned.
So you haven't appointed anybody yet?
No.
Or nobody's
Nobody's stepped up.
Is that something that Chris wants to do and it's part of his
I
job?
don't know. I haven't asked him.
We could ask him.
It seems a logical place to be.
Right. So I think that the question path there is, do you want to do it and we'll pay you more to do it? Charlotte was doing it out of the goodness of her heart.
Yeah.
She wasn't getting paid extra to do
Well,
it.
doesn't Chris get paid by the hour?
Yeah, but there's different. We'll just have to look into it so we don't pay insurance for Chris because he's under X number of hours. So if you bump them up over those hours, then you start looking at insurance responsibilities.
Okay,
Um,
Yep.
Now, if he can work, I don't know if he can work X number of hours as the delinquent tax collector, and that doesn't count against his treasurer hours. That's a HR situation.
No, I think that how the insurance works is it would combine
If it's the same
whatever
person.
hat he's wearing, it combines all the hours.
I'll tell you what, I think somebody wants to be the delinquent tax collector. You get a badge. And how much money do we get? How much money do we allocate?
are you propositioning somebody?
Yeah,
Oh, it's 28,
Yeah.
28 grand.
there you go.
Yeah, right,
Where do you see that 28,000?
yeah, right.
It's
Wages for the delinquent tax collector, $1,400.
Oh, I'm looking at the treasurer.
there's a call for $1,400.
200.
Let me tell you a story.
It is 1,400, right? No, it's 200.
It'll just throw me in
That's for
another tax
expenses.
Oh, that's
bracket, I can't afford
expenses,
doing it.
okay.
You're that close to the tax bracket
Yeah,
line.
right.
But remember, if it's put in the tax bracket, you only have to pay on that $1,400, not everything. So,
Oh, yeah.
so yeah, we need a delinquent tax collector, which will also be brought up at town meeting. Well, before then, see if anybody's interested in doing it. It seems like a fairly thankless job.
How many hours does Chris work now, you know? Is he budgeted
It's
for?
hours.
He's budgeted for 23 hours a week.
Can't imagine more than, well, I don't know, I have no idea how long it would take.
All right. Alex, any other ones?
Yeah, so also on general fund line 74 telephone, it seems that, there's been a lot of change in the telephone industry and, maybe we can, go to a voice over internet, save a lot of money on that. Or-
The which section is that under?
Municipal.
Municipal building.
Okay, it's telephone. Yep, got it. I think we'll have to find out what the
Flagging that.
I think we'll have to find out what the rules are for the state as far as requirements for emergency management stuff. It may be that you have to have a landline,
Yep.
but I don't know. I just know when I lose power, voice over IP is gone on my home phone because I don't have a. That's how I'm doing it.
So I just flagged
Yep.
that. Then same category, computer expense.
Yep.
We've proposed 10,000. Again, there's been a lot of change in that industry, and I wonder if it's time to think about putting it out to bid again for. I don't really know what our uses are, but seems like a lot of money. There might be some new packages for municipalities that
Right.
would offer some savings.
I think we use it. Does that include our what's the name of the computer system they use? DERPA, DERMA, DEMRA.
NIMRIC.
NIMRIC. There you go. It's a state.
Mhm.
Is that the listers one?
I think everything.
No, it's
The
the,
whole thing?
yeah.
So we'll see how much of that is that and
Yeah.
how much of it's
Yeah.
something else.
May not be any potential there, but I just thought I'd flag it. And then animal control contract, it's gone up quite a bit, and maybe we talked about that. Was that in the sheriff's contract?
I think Paul, did we get animal control separate as a contract?
Yes, it's separate. It's a separate contract.
Right, but from the sheriff, it did go up considerably. I don't know. I mean, I know how it works. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and look and see if we have the numbers. If other towns pull out of that contract, it's going to increase for everybody else. It's like it's community based. So
Be interesting to know how many incidences you had too, animal
Right.
control incidences.
I can ask her for reports.
yeah, ask for a report and ask what it would have cost for what we have or have had this year or last year. Because if you're not part of the consortium, you just pay more per visit, right? Instead of just calling them and having them come, it's like we'll still come, but you're paying us $250 or $300 a visit. So it'd be interesting to know what
Yeah.
You know, if $300 a visit, we're only spending $3,000.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
All right.
But you're gonna want all that information by next week to finalize the budget?
Well, yeah, Paul worked the animal control budget. I'll talk to Lori on these other things.
Okay.
Make it work.
Then the last thing was the line 95, the EMD and assistant EMD wages.
Yeah.
You know, we're looking at 66.42 for that, and we don't have any year-to-date info. And I'm just curious, you know, whether I know that Rich took that over.
The previous two, EMD and the EMD assistant, put in little to no. They put in the hours,
Yeah.
but they didn't ask for reimbursement. So we got very lucky.
Okay.
with
That's
those
why
two.
it's so low in the actuals, the 2024 actuals.
Yeah. Yep.
And any sense of how Rich is gonna do it?
I don't know.
And is that pay based on number of hours that he puts in, or what's it based on?
It's based on 360 hours is what we did it at.
Okay.
Because my sense is he's really busy. I'm not sure he has that many hours to put in, because he has a state job, doesn't he, doing EMD statewide?
I don't
Right,
know.
yeah.
That's
Do
all I
you know
got.
Rich?
Do I know him?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yep.
Do you want to ask him?
I can reach out to him.
That'd
Yep.
be great.
Okay. You know, so these are all kind of, one could say they're nickel and dime items, but they add up,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do,
as
definitely.
Paul points out.
I mean, the diesel alone's dropped it to 21.5. It's not nothing, but it's not everything. So your chart's a little off based on what we're thinking for diesel. All right. So, like I said, we'll have a budget meeting here next Monday, same time, and then back to regular meetings January 8th after the New Year on Wednesday. And budget work session still on the schedule for the 15th. We
Yeah.
may or may not, we'll see where we're at.
Yep.
If we need a little extra time, we can always, on the 8th, do a both, if there's anything that has to be finalized for the budget. But if we say the 8th is literally the drop, we're trying to finish next week. But if we need to go to
Yes,
the
because I don't know that we can wait until, what would be the next one, the 22nd is the next regular meeting?
Yep.
After that, and that might be a little
Tight.
too late to get it to the auditors
Yeah, I'm hoping to do it on hopefully the 8th regular meeting.
and get it,
And if we need a little bit of budget before we finish up, it'll be the regular meeting. We'll do it as a regular budget meeting.
yeah, but I have to be able to type up the warning and we have to be able to,
All right, well, then we're gonna finish it
with
next
the
week.
final numbers.
Yep,
Yeah, we have to approve the warning with final numbers. We can't sign it and
Right.
cross it out and do it by hand.
right, okay.
Or we have a special meeting, or the 15th becomes a regular meeting instead of a budget meeting just to approve.
Right, yeah,
Just
we just do our regular meeting.
Yeah,
Okay,
just to do the budget
yep,
if, instead of the budget meeting on the 15th, it could be a regular
yeah,
meeting.
that's fine. We get an
But
extra
it-
meeting,
Yeah,
it's just regular, all right. I don't have anything else. Except for these cookies. Anyone else?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
So it is. I'll tell Roger to go figure out how to unlock the Zoom account.